Did you know that birth partners used to not be allowed in the birthing room? Medical providers thought that they didn't know enough about birth and would get in the way instead of helping. Some partners are kind of afraid that that might be their reality. So let's learn some tricks so that you are actually a help and not a hindrance.
Welcome, I'm Ellen Contard.
And I'm Melissa Evans.
We've been supporting growing families for a long time.
We've come to realize that quality childbirth classes are really hard for growing families today, both in terms of calendar and budget.
So we've decided to do something revolutionary. We are offering our full, comprehensive childbirth class series right here.
Please realize that we are not medical providers nor attorneys. We do not practice medicine nor the law.
So use common sense and talk things over with a professional that you trust. But for now, let's learn some tools and techniques that will help you partner like a pro. Let's start this episode with a little bit of introspection. Take a few moments and answer the following two questions. What are 3 ways that you and your partner work well together? What is 1 way that you could improve? No, really, answer these questions. Take some time to write down the answers or discuss them amongst yourselves. We'll wait.
Now that you've answered these questions, and you have, right? We just wanted to be clear that you already have a really good foundation to start with, and every relationship has some room for improvement. So we're going to build on that already awesome foundation to help you through birth and in general.
Being a birth partner isn't easy. We sometimes say that partners labor in their own way too. And it's not just because you'll lose sleep and you'll get tired and sore from all the hip squeezing and back rubbing and leg holding and other physical activity, but it's also emotionally hard. It's really difficult to see the person that you love the most in pain and not be able to step in and fix it.
Sometimes birth partners do try to jump in and fix it, and this can get a little bit tricky with certain interventions like, say, an epidural. The most important part is we want mom's needs to be met. So we don't want her to come back later and say, well, why didn't you try to talk me out of it? Or to come back later and say, why did you make me wait? We want you birth partners to have a way to win.
There are a couple of approaches that can help us navigate mom's request for an epidural. The most important point is to discuss this beforehand and have a solid plan. Some moms plan to use this tool, so if she says, I want an epidural, that means go get the anesthesiologist. And if partner tries to offer some alternative suggestions, they might get in trouble.
But if mom would rather try for natural birth and she says something about an epidural and the partner goes and gets the anesthesiologist right away, that can get the partner in trouble that way too. But what can a partner do if the partner knows that's not in mom's plan? Some simple things might be to suggest that she wait for X amount of contractions or Y amount more minutes and just see if a little bit more time and perspective changes anything.
Some moms like to use a safe word because that gives them the freedom to complain. Mom can say, oh, I really want an epidural. And we can understand that to mean, wow, I get why some moms like to use epidurals. This is really hard and it kind of sounds good right now. Because we know that mom is going through a rough patch and needs some additional support. But if mom says, purple zebra, then we know she's serious. Some people even suggest using that safe word 3 times between contractions just to be sure.
So there's a few things to start thinking about now. But what else can you do in pregnancy to prepare for this big day? Well, let's pretend that I had $1 million. And I would be happy to give that to you tax-free if you could just help mom finish a marathon. Please notice I said finish. I didn't say anything about placing. What would you do now and during that marathon, even afterwards, to accomplish that goal?
You would probably make sure that she has good nutrition to stay healthy and that she trains physically to develop the strength and stamina for the big day. You might even commit to eating those healthy foods and to physically training with her. You would also make sure that she has any equipment, any tools to accomplish that goal and do it well.
You might ride your bike alongside her and offer her words of encouragement. Tell her how awesome she's doing, how close she is to an end. Remind her of that big goal at the end. Giving her those words that will provide strength when things get really hard and she might want to quit.
You've probably already figured out the analogy. All of these things apply during pregnancy and birth as well. For the record, you do burn about as many calories birthing a baby as you do running a marathon. Find out more details about labor as an athletic event in our episode, What Hollywood Didn't Teach You About Labor. And it goes without saying, your baby is worth way more than a measly $1 million.
A great tool during labor, and quite frankly, relationships in general, is Gary Chapman's The 5 Love Languages. He hypothesizes that we have 5 ways that we hear and speak love. There's physical touch, words of affirmation, quality time, acts of service, and gifts. This can get really tricky when partners hear and speak different love languages. So one person might speak service and they're busy baking a cake, and the other person might speak physical touch and they're clawing at them, and it can come off as really irritating. But the fact is they're both screaming, "I love you." So understanding your love language, understanding your partner can help alleviate some of that. And then at least on some level you'll know, well, they're not just trying to be irritating, they're trying to say, "I love you," and we can get that. In the description, we have a really cute little quiz that'll help you figure out what your love language is and how to apply it during birth. Here's a homework assignment for you.
So what happens when you're laboring together? You need to be able to get ideas from mom of what she needs and to give her ideas when she needs them. You can think of this interaction as a funnel that narrows as labor intensifies. In the early parts of labor, it's really easy to say, "What would you like to do?" It's like the short answer questions. Mom will be able to tell you what she wants, what she needs, and what's working for her.
As labor progresses, answering those short questions is going to be simply too much work in this forebrain. This part of the brain is excellent for doing math problems and solving puzzles, and those are great tools to have, but not in labor. When moms are giving birth, we want them back here in their hindbrain, that intuitive brain. That's what's going to help get babies out. So when moms can no longer answer those questions, it's a good idea to offer her a multiple choice thing instead and acknowledge it's a really good sign. So instead of "What would you like to do?" change it up to "Would you like to get on the birth ball or get in the shower?"
But even that becomes too much when labor gets really intense. So at this point, just offer a suggestion. "Let's get in the shower." If that's not going to work for mom, she will typically be able to tell you no, and you can offer a different suggestion. Sometimes this no is kind of subtle and you have to watch her body language. Other times it can be blunt. It's okay. Labor room is an insult-free zone. What happens in the labor room stays in the labor room. Except the baby. You can take home the baby. So remember, ask, list, offer. And don't hesitate to offer a new suggestion if the current one is no longer working, even if it's only been one contraction.
So partners, you may have noticed that it's kind of up to you to have some things to suggest and offer, which means your education is really important. One of your big homework assignments that you've probably heard before and will probably hear again is practicing contractions. Practicing positions. Go back to those previous episodes and look through them. Learn them now. How will she want to move? What will she want to hear? How will she want to be touched? Spend the time now to stock that into your muscle memory so that you will be amazing in the birth room.
Speaking of things that she wants to hear, another one of your homework assignments is to work together to create a labor script. In the description, there is a link to a handout of things that birth partners can say. Print that out and make it your own. Cross out things that are not going to work for you. Tweak things that you like to fit your own personality, mom's own needs. But work together and make sure that you have something to bring with you, even as a cheat sheet for the big day. Because believe me, hearing "good job" gets really old when you hear it 3,000 times as a laboring mom. And quite frankly, it gets pretty old for the partner to say too. So if you need a new line, bring a labor script with you.
This sounds really funny, but smack dab in the middle of labor, most moms forget that there's a baby involved. I mean, it's pretty obvious to any of us on the outside, but mom's experience is so intense and she is so internally focused that the big picture kind of falls from her thought process. So partners, this becomes your job to remember it. There are many stories of people running marathons or swimming the English Channel, but it happens to be a foggy day, and they give up on this quest when they were that far away, simply because they couldn't see the finish line. Partners, your job is to clear away the fog so that mom has the big picture and can finish this in style.
Remember, a birth partner is SECURE. SECURE is an acronym, and it stands for strong, enthusiastic, committed, understanding, and a relaxation expert. Develop all of these qualities, and you will be an asset in the labor room, and the connections among your family will be stronger for it.
So there are some things to think about in pregnancy and some actual homework assignments for you as partners to work on as well. What do you think? What are you already doing intuitively? Is there anything you need to add to your to-do list? Let us know in the comments. We really love reading your stories.
Please like and share this video with all your pregnant friends. And do remember to subscribe. We'll be posting new videos every Tuesday and Friday, and we don't want you to miss out.
Until next time,
Know your options.
own your birth.